Welcome back to another buy request video from the Garage Bowling Alley. Today's request comes from Dakota Bowler. He's been with us for a while. He says, "Hey Rob, I always wondered how an A2 releases a full deck of pins and puts them on the pin deck. Think you could show me, please?" We could do that. This is going to be a two-part video. The first part is going to be how the machine feeds the pins into the turret to put them on to the moving deck assembly. And then I'll do another video to show how the moving deck actually sets the pins on the lane. So there's too much to cover in just one video, so we'll do a two-parter. So here's the first part of it. Hope you enjoy it. We're about to hit to the 5-pin, which is the last pin to go in. You'll see it come up here. You see how the pins are about to index. The spider opens up, pins fall, the spider locks. Now let me show you how that actually works. Okay. Here is kind of how everything works. This is the pin setter motor. You have one on a Brunswick pin setter. And it drives two things. One, you see the forward belt drives the gearbox clutch, which makes the pin setter go up and down. The back belt on the smaller pulley goes over to a jack shaft on the other side, which, if you can see, drives that back pulley back there, which does the cross belt, comes to this pulley, which drives this shaft right here. So it goes all the way down there in a big circle. And then you got this belt right here. This is the long turret belt. This long turret belt goes all the way up front. It's got a spring right there holding tension on it. Two pulleys it does like a S turn on. It goes up there and turns the pulley that you see right here. And that always is turning as long as the machine's on. Let me turn it on here and show you. Now if you notice, that pulley up top is always turning. There's some clutch facings right below it for the time delay that you can see the gears through the middle there. But down below, that pulley's always turning, but the belt is not. It just has tension on it. Now see that top pulley that you see right there that was turning is connected right down here to this bottom pulley. That's your short turret belt. Goes up here and goes around the turret, which is what the pins go into before they drop into the buckets. Notice these little cam lobes on here. There's one for each pin spot, so there's 10 of them on here. There is a roller, hard to see, right there in the center. There's that silver roller, and you got that piece right on top of it. Now the pin goes over, hits the trip lever up here. See how it moves that link right here? This is the short link. This trip pedal gets hit 9 times out of the cycle. The 10th one is the 5-pin, and there's no way for the 5-pin to hit the trip lever, so you have to have the turret clutch right here, which engages one turn. You can see the teeth in it right there. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a geared teeth in there to this pulley back here. Pins go over here, moves the short link, releases. See that little roller right there? Whenever the trip lever goes down, it moves that lever up and allows that roller, there's 2 of them there. There's the closest one is one that locks the turret from moving. The back one is one that rides the cam on this thing. There's 10 lobes. So that black roller back there is the one riding it, and it can only go whenever you release it. So when you release it, by doing that, it can do 1 turn, and then that comes back up, and when it tries to do the next lobe, that silver roller that you see right there hits the bottom of that little bell crank that you see that goes back and forth, stops it from being able to advance another spot till the pin goes over, releases it, then the black roller you see there can follow the cam to the next spot. So that's how the turret advances every time. Say the turret can advance 9 times by a pin falling over and hitting the trip lever. The 10th time is the 5-pin. That's the last one that always goes in. It makes a very distinct sound that you can hear when you're bowling up front whenever that 5-pin goes through and the head of the pin hits the top of the metal chute. But when it goes through, it doesn't hit the trip lever, So the 5-pin goes through, releases all the pins, which a little lever trips the turret clutch. It advances one time, runs that pedal manually. I'll show you that. Now this is the turret clutch I was talking about. Here's the release lever. There's an arm on the spider that hits this whenever it goes by when the turret opens up. There's that gear. Now watch that gear below it turn one time. It goes one time every time that arm is pushed, and that runs the pedal. The only time it runs the pedal is on the 5-pin when the 5-pin goes through the chute. Let's come around here and I'll show you. This is the lever that hits. Whenever the spider opens up, this goes that way, hits this guy. See how it's about to hit it right there? So when the spider opens up, it hits that, and that's what advances the trip lever one time, because the 5-pin goes through the chute, doesn't hit the trip lever. Now see how that roller is not spring-loaded right now. Pressure's released. It's up against the stop right here on the back. So that spring keeps it up there, but see it gets spring-loaded whenever it comes around to the 5-pin again. Let me turn it back on, and you can see it gets spring-loaded here in a minute whenever it gets around there. Now if you look right here, you got this big spring on the front of the turret. Here's the turret. And right now it's on this cam right there, and there's a cutout right back here. See where that cutout is? That little lobe is on the downhill slope of that cam. That roller's just waiting to go. When the 5-pin goes through, it unlocks the spider, and the force of this spring on this roller will force that roller to go down here, which forces the spider to open that way. And then all the pins fall into the buckets. So right now it's spring loaded. Normally this would be back and wouldn't be loaded like that. Now what causes it to latch is right here. There is a roller. You can see it right there in the top center, right there above my finger. That guy is latched whenever this is back. This is interlock probe. This gets pushed whenever the 5-pin goes through. You see that tongue down there? Whenever the 5-pin goes through, it pushes that tongue, which pushes this out, releases that little roller right there, and that's what allows the spider to open that way. And then when it advances, it goes back and latches again, and this is what's keeping it latched right now. You see, if I pull out on this right there, then the spider will open up. You see I got it here. Now watch it latch back again. There it goes, it's latched. But it's only spring-loaded like this when you're at the 5-pin chute position. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on and run it and let you see the pins fall. Now see how that roller is not spring-loaded right now. Pressure's released. It's up against the stop right here on the back. Here you'll see the pins coming up the cross conveyor here in a moment. It's going to go hit that trip lever. It's going to advance one turn every time. Here comes the 5-pin in the chute, releases, trips one time. Well, hope you enjoyed today's buy request video. If you got any yourself, comment, message us directly on Facebook, Garage Bowling Alley. Let us know what you want to see. We'll try to do it for you. We're starting to get a good list of requests, so it may take a few days to get to you, but check back. See you soon from the garage.